What is going on? Got a real review today on the newer, just released Curado at the Bassmaster Classic a little while ago, and then the older Curado, both in the I series. But the differences they made in the newer one compared to the older one, even though they're in the same series, as in specs and what I personally, since I've been fishing with this newer one at least 2 weeks now, and then this older one I've had it for at least a couple months, I feel comfortable sharing my thoughts about it now that I've had it for a while. So let's get into it. Jumping into it, we'll start with the older one. This is the Curado I. This is the 6 3-to-1 gear ratio, and with the I's they released compared to their older ones, they came out with several new features like the S3D spool, as it is indicated. And when I first started with these reels, I thought it was all hype, like it was more of a selling point to it, as in it wasn't really something that was needed or wanted. It was more for the selling point. But now having it and casting with it compared to my older Shimano's or my older Lew's, I can definitely tell that this S3D spool is what it's meant or worked out to be. Basically what it is, when you cast, it keeps the spool from rattling side to side. It's more of a smoother action, and when you have your thumb on it, you can really feel it, especially with the older model compared to the smaller. Like, this is a newer model of the I's, but it has a lot smaller of a spool, holds a lot less line, more of a lower profile bait caster, which is what it is made out to be on Shimano's website. But with this being a bigger spool and being able to cast farther, it's just a lot smoother in your hands, out and about, just walking. You can feel, there's nothing moving in there. Especially the tighter you go on your tension knob, I mean, it's just, you have to feel it to believe it. But for me, take it from me, it makes it a lot easier to do casting. Next part on this, they came out with the infinity braking systems on the newer Curados when they did come out. This isn't a newer Curado, it is the newest of the lineup in the I series. But when you open this up, and what I like about the older Curados compared to the newer Curados in the I series is how the plate, when you take it off, doesn't come like off of the reel itself, which then again saves you from being in a boat, taking it off, all of a sudden your side plate's just in the bottom of the lake and you got nothing to do for it. But they came out with the newer braking system, and what it is you push it in and out, and it's a more of a friction based design to where it's a lot smoother handling. What I typically do, I put 2 on, 2 off. That's just what most people tend to do. And then for anything quick needed on changing, I go to my magnetic side on the side right here. I usually keep it on a 2 or a 3 depending on what I'm throwing. If it's a lot harder to throw, I will change it up really quickly, but that's done me fine just far. I've tried it 3 on, it's felt too tight. Tried it 1 on, I have a little trouble. I usually have to keep up with the higher magnet on the magnet side, the higher number on it. But all in all, I love it. It weighs in at 7.4 ounces. 7.4. It is a little bit of a heavier reel, but then again, you got to think it's not a low profile. The side plate doesn't come off. That's a little bit extra weight. It is a bigger spool, but to me, I don't need that light reel. I mean, I like something in my hands to where I can feel it. And when I pair it up with my Kara T7 or a G Loomis, I mean, it still feels featherweight to me when you put it on a really light rod like that. I use this more of a jig. Well, it's kind of low for me for a jig, being a 6 3-to-1. I like spinner baits with it. Anything where It's not too slow, but not too fast. You want it. I'm a high-paced type of guy. I like to, even when I, like my 200 PG over here, that is my 5.4 to 1, I believe. And I cannot stand reeling slow. That's just not me. So I go as low as I can on like my crankbait setup, to where I can still kind of be a fast pace, but still be lower on the gear ratio side, to where it doesn't take as long. That's just typically what most people do, and that's what I do. I enjoy it. Then again, people get high speed reels and they sit there and they get it down to the bottom and they keep it cranking on the bottom really slow. That's just not me. I'm more of a shallow guy. I like to move, I like to fish, I like to keep going till I figure them out, and then I'll slow down for them. Getting a hold of the next reel here, this is a newer eye. This one right here is a 200. The new ones they came out with are the 70XG. And what I like about these compared to this one is I can get it in an 8.3 to 1, which is what this one, or 8.2 to 1, my bad. This is what this one is right here. And when jig fishing, this is my jig rod, or jig reel, my bad. It's a lower profile to where I can easily get it to where I want it, but it's not a lot of line. For me, I don't need a huger reel like this when I'm jig fishing. It's more of flipping or short cast, to where that's all I need. But having that 8.2 to 1 to get the fish out is just crucial for me, because the faster you can reel, the faster you get the fish in. This comes out with the new Hagen design on the side right here. It is basically meant to where when you're fighting a fish, there is no movement in the whole reel itself. As in, it's just you cranking it. There is no excess movement going on back and forth. It's just the crank and the crank itself, which I personally enjoy, especially when I have my drag set very high to where I'm fishing weeds and heavy cover. I think the drag on these are 10 pounds. I know for this one it's 10 pounds. This one I'm not exactly sure, but just having this reel in your hands compared to this one, it is a significant weight difference. This one weighs in at 6.5 and this one is 7.4, I believe. It may not seem like that much an ounce, but, and then again, I don't need a light reel, but I do enjoy around 6 ounce range. You just don't find that many nice reels around there. This one's equipped with all the fancy features just like it. X-Ship, for example, comes in both of them. What X-Ship does is it's basically just a way for the gearing system to work. It's not a fight against it, it's more of a freer motion. Such a smooth reel for the money. You gotta think, this one's $179.99 as of right now, and this one's $199. I picked this one up at Bass Pro. I picked this one and my other one up at Academy. Academy has a great exchange plan. If you want a reel but you're not sure about it, you can go in there, get it, then again go right back and say you don't enjoy it and they'll exchange it. At least my Academy and the ones around me have. This side plate right here is something I personally don't enjoy. You screw it off and it comes off completely. Now the brakes on this one are a little bit different. You see how they're white and not red? Being white and not red, that's just Shimano's newer style to it. It's supposed to have more of a freer path when moving. Now on the magnet side of this, it looks more like the Chronarch, which, compare where the magnet is on this one and where the magnet is on that one, it is a lot easier to reach. Instead of having to put your finger around here, you can just move it like this and keep an eye on it, which I personally have used several times that I can believe of, just trying to work a bait to fit it on my rod and reel, and I have to flick it or turn this real quick. It is a more improved, I think, position for it, and it reminds me a lot of the Chronarch being on the side right here instead of down here on the lip. This is being a really small reel. It can hold 105 yards of 10 pound, and I know you're thinking that's horrible, but really in situations where it's not, like me and jigs, it's not, because you get the lighter weight. You don't usually cast far with jigs in my standards. I'm more of a shallow guy, and getting the 8.3 to 1 is worth it, getting that extra step up compared to the old 200 series where they don't go as high as that. I personally like it. They got a new drag lever on it. I guess you would call it a lever. It's more of a star design instead of this crooked design, which at times can hide behind the handle itself and get hidden and can be kind of difficult. This is just more of an older style, but it's more enjoyable in my opinion. Alright, that wraps it up for my two reels, doing a comparison between the newer and older version of the I series. They're both great reels, the way they perform, the way they act, and I am very pleased with them as of right now. Shimano is so far my company I enjoy most, and I appreciate y'all for watching. Catch you next time. I'll be doing more of these more than likely. See ya.